Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I think this is the first video I'm making on this channel. If there are other videos, I'm probably going to delete them because they probably suck, but let's be honest, this one might suck too. There's always a possibility. Anyway, today I'm going to tell you the story of the job I had for 5 days because it is the 3-year anniversary of that. And it's my favorite story to tell. So, in 2017, I'd been working at this physical therapy office, and it was quite frankly miserable. It was super busy. We had like 100 patients every day. I was really stressed out. And the thing is that basically I'd been trying to become a medical coder, and it was super hard to find a job as a medical coder, which is like, the reason I got this physical therapy office job was I was hoping to get some experience, so then maybe somebody would hire me later on to do that actual job. But it was so stressful that I couldn't even really handle it, and I was like, this isn't even what I want to be doing, you know? So, when I found a position for a certified coding specialist, I was like, okay, tight. So I applied for it, and they called me, and I was so stoked, only for them to tell me that this was basically the same thing that I'd been doing. Except, 2 days out of the week, the doctor would be out of the office and we'd be doing all of our billing stuff on those days. Like all of our payment posting, our coding, etc. And I was like, okay, tight, you know, that's 2 more days than what I'm doing now. That would also give me experience. Let's do it. So, I had the weirdest interview of my life for this job, okay? I was an hour late. And they still took me back and had me interview. So I was interviewed by this girl who we're gonna call Kira. Kira was the office administrator. She was very professional. She seemed really nice. And she used to work at a physical therapy office, so we kind of had that in common, and I was like, okay, cool, I have an in. Here's the only thing though. She told me during this interview that she'd only been working there for 6 months. And that she was going to be my boss. Y'all, that is a huge red flag, okay? If somebody tells you, I'm your boss and I've only been here for 6 months, that's what you call a high turnover rate. Don't do it. Anyway, so we went through the interview, everything was fine, and there's this dude who was just sitting there the whole time, like across the room, just vibing. And he was like, at the end of the interview, he was like, do you want to know who I am? I was like, yeah. Actually. And he's like, oh, I'm the janitor, you know, I've just been sweeping and mopping and stuff, and I just decided to pop in for this interview. I was like, cool, alright. And he was like, haha, you thought we'd let the janitor be in the interview? Nah, I'm one of the owners. And I'm like, what? He tells me that his name is Alex, and that he's one of the owners. And he tells me that it gets crazy in there, like at this office. He's like, yeah, it gets crazy sometimes. And I was like, alright. He's like, you're okay with the fact that it gets crazy here sometimes? I was like, sure. He's like, alright. So, a couple days later, I get a call, I got the job. I go in to fill out my paperwork, I'm sitting there in this little break room with no windows, like the most depressing place in the world. And Alex comes in, and he opens the refrigerator and pulls out a big-ass 2-liter of Diet Pepsi. He says, this Diet Pepsi is for employees only. Do you want some? And I was like, sure. He pours me a cup of Diet Pepsi. He's like, welcome to the team. I'm like, wow, thanks. They have like no health insurance, like no other benefits, but they did have Diet Pepsi. So, first day went fine, you know. Kira was there, she was training me, everything was more or less fine. Except for, okay, this messed with me because she was like, you can't have your cell phone out. And I was like, literally just looking at my calendar to see like what I was supposed to be doing after work that day, I think. And she was like, you can't have your cell phone out. But she had her cell phone out the whole time, and she like always had it charging in front of her computer and was always looking at it. So I was like, what? Okay. But the first day went smoothly. Besides the whole cell phone thing, it went totally smoothly. The second day, they actually ended up hiring, like, they ended up having a new hire start. And we're going to call this poor soul Jasmine. So Jasmine started on my second day. And she was super nice, super fine. Again, we were both getting trained by Kira. Everything seemed like it was going smoothly. The third day, Kira was late, so we were let into the building, and basically Jasmine and I had to try to figure out how to do our jobs without our boss being there on our third day. And she came in after lunch and she was like, hey, you did this and this and this and this and this wrong. Also, that was the same day that we were trained on how to post payments by somebody who had a very strong accent, talked very quickly, and talked very quietly, and legitimately neither Jasmine nor I knew what she was saying the whole time. And I felt like an asshole because of how many questions and clarifications I had to ask for. If there's one thing you should know about me, it's that I have anxiety about asking questions in general. It's something my therapist and I have been working on, but I hate asking questions. The fact that I had to ask questions about this person who, like, you know, was doing her best, but like I just straight up didn't understand her, it made me feel like a jerk. Anyway, so basically we spent the rest of the third day, I spent the rest of the third day like greeting patients and checking them in and stuff. And Jasmine spent the rest of the day calling insurance companies about rejections, which is the thing that you have to do. But here's the thing. The pile of rejections was from October of 2016. It was like, I guess, almost 6 months old. They had such this huge backlog of insurance rejections. I'd never seen anything like it. Anyway, so that was the third day. The third day was more or less okay, even though Kira wasn't there to train us and gave me shit for not knowing what to do on my third day and not knowing how to train this person whose second day it was. Here's something I should also note. This whole week, this lady kept calling us, okay? And for the sake of this video, we're gonna call this lady Jamie. So Jamie kept calling us, and she was like, okay, I want to make sure that when I come in on Friday and I pay you guys $300, that y'all will give me my prescription. And I was like, I am new, I don't know what's going on, let me ask. I'm the kind of bitch who wants to get answers for people. That's just how I am as a person, okay? So I tried asking Kira, the office administrator, who was right next to me, and she was like, oh yeah, Jamie's been stalking us. You know, like, just pass her off to me whenever you get her. And then I like transfer it or whatever, and Kira answers the phone, and she is so rude to this patient. And I'm just sitting here like, maybe she just wants answers. Just give her an answer so she won't have to keep calling. Like, I don't really know why she, like, Kira had this absolute disdain for this patient who kept calling over and over and over again with the same question that apparently she wasn't getting answers for. I would also be calling for, like, you know, and the thing, anyway. So she's like, always give her to me because she's stalking us. And I was like, I'm hearing her talk to this patient. I'm like, you sound like a raging jerk right now, but okay. So, on Thursday, Kira isn't there, like, at all. Nobody who has a key is there until 8:30. We were supposed to open at 8, and nobody with a key was there until 8:30. This nurse pulled up and she was like, I have a key, blah, 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 because the doctor was out of the office that day because she was doing her telemedicine and we were supposed to be doing all the billing stuff. So Jasmine and I are sitting in the front desk, we're doing our work, we're calling our myriad of insurance verifications, whatever. Or not verifications, sorry, rejections. Anyway, so we're making all those phone calls. It was a pretty chill day, pretty slow. No one was coming in because the doctor wasn't even there. But it's just wild to me that, like, we were late getting into the building because nobody who had a key was there. Like, what? So on Friday, this is the day everything goes down, okay? Friday, I get to work exactly on time at 8 o'clock, even though it is mad far away from my house. And once again, nobody who has a key is there. Not only that, but the nurse who had a key who let us in on Thursday wasn't even supposed to be there that day. So one of the other nurses had to call our boy, who I named Alex in the beginning of the video, one of the owners. Okay, so she had to call him to get him to come in and let us in. And I don't know what he was supposed to be doing, but he was pissed. He was like, I guess I'll come let you into the building, but why doesn't anyone have a key? And it's like, well, your organization sucks. Like, we didn't say that, of course, but I'm thinking, like, how did you and the other owner, who I haven't mentioned because she was cool, she wasn't part of the problem at all. I'm just like, how did you and the other owner not set this up to where somebody would always have a key, you know? Like, sorry, we have to call you and make you come to your office and let us in because of your bad planning, basically. So anyway, he shows up, he lets us in begrudgingly, and the whole time we had been waiting outside, there was this lady who just kept pacing around the building, and I'm like, oh shit, that's her, that's her, that's her, that's her, that's her. That's the patient who's been calling us every single day with the same question. Now, if you'll recall, what did I name her? Jamie. If you'll recall, Jamie had been calling us every day saying, when I pay my $300 on Friday, will I get my prescription? Like, will you guys give me my prescription when I pay you my $300, okay? Again, this is my 5th day. I don't know this patient. I don't know her history. I barely even understand how to open accounts. I barely even know how to read things. This is how training goes. Even if you've been doing the job, you still won't know how this particular place does it. After 5 freaking days, alright? So I pull up this lady's account and I'm confused because it's showing that she owes us $330. Not $300. And I'm like, what? I turn to the nurse who was next to me and I'm like, what? Now remember, Kira, who is supposed to be training us, isn't there. The owner is standing behind me messing with the printer this whole time. He sees what's going on, and at no point does he step in to intervene. Granted, I could have been the one to ask him. I could have been like, hi, will you please help me with this? But call me an idiot or whatever, but I really don't... I feel like if I were the owner and I knew what was going on, I would step in. Instead of being right behind this person, like me, I'm the person, being right behind me and messing with the printer the whole time, I kind of feel like if I'd been the owner, if I'd known what was going on and seen this situation unfolding with my employee who had been there for 5 days, I would have been like, hey, here's how you do this, or here's why this is happening. So sorry, you do owe us $330 instead of $300 because of this thing. But nah, this guy just kept messing with the printer and just saying kind of under his breath, like, it's $330. It's $330. She owes us $330. And I'm like, but why? Why is it that this bitch has been calling us every single day and none of you ever thought to tell her that she owed us $330? You were letting her believe it was only $300. And see, this lady was obviously, she was poor. She was talking about how she'd been saving up money for this. She was talking about how she had to drive for 3 hours. And all she wanted was to clarify how much she owed us before she made this 3-hour trip to come see us. And we couldn't even do that for her. So of course, I'm the one who's having to deal with this because the way the office is set up, my coworker Jasmine is on the other side of the room and she's kind of watching this unfold, but she definitely doesn't know what's going on. She's only been there for 4 days. So what I ended up doing was panicking. Full on panic attack panicking because your boy is anxious, okay? So I went out to my car and I started crying. And I called my mom. This is in the middle of a transaction. Nothing had gotten solved. I didn't do anything except pull up this lady's account, look around frantically for help, and then panic and walk out to my car. I walked out to my car and I called my mom and I was like, I'm quitting this job. I'm having a panic attack and I'm quitting this job. And she was like, what, why? And I'm like, explaining the whole situation to her. And she's like, okay, well, I guess do it, you know, but then come over afterwards, we'll look at some jobs together. I'm like, alright, tight. So I went back into the building and I was like, everyone's slack-jawed. Everyone's staring at me. The owner had actually been, he took over. No, you know what? He still didn't even take initiative. He was just like standing there, I think. And Jasmine, I think, was trying to figure out what was going on. They and the patient and like the nurses, everyone was just kind of staring at me like, what the hell, dude? I am bawling and I'm like, I am quitting. This is my last day. This is my last minute. I am clocking out right now and I am leaving. I drove all the way to my mom's house, my parents' house, and I immediately started applying for jobs that day. 5 days. Never in my life have I walked out of a job, especially after 5 days, but that place was so disorganized, it was so stressful, it was so chaotic, and I just couldn't handle it. I know that I could have handled the situation better, but like, so could have basically everyone else. Like, it was my 5th day. Never in my wildest dreams would I take an employee who has been at my job for 5 days and be like, you're on your own now, do everything, and you better get it all right. That's not reasonable. That's not what you expect from a 27-year-old who, like, is new to the job. Anyway, that whole situation actually ended up leading to me changing careers and finding the job that I have and love now, so it really kind of worked out. But I just thought I would tell that story because it's my absolute favorite story to tell. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful kitten day. I plan to make more content because even though I have a shitty webcam, I'm quarantined or whatever. What else am I gonna do? I watch a lot of YouTube content, so I'm kind of giving back by making my own. So please consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to get more of my content, and have a wonderful kitten day. Bye.